Hey everyone, and welcome to Healthcare Sales Guided Project here by Data Frenchie. I just want to make sure that you check out the description below, which will be a link to this guided project where you'll have more of the materials, get a certificate at the end, and more information will be there. I want to start off with the scenario that we have for this guided project before we dive more into it. And that is your manager has a request for you and they want it within 24 hours. As a healthcare company, they want to see how we performed against our yearly targets based on revenue and covered lives. So the very important part here is, like I said, the situation is you work for a healthcare company, and we just finished the year. So the biggest part about being a healthcare company is, of course, we have to sell it to different clients, aka different companies. And within there, we just want to see really how much money we got and how many covered lives we have, aka how many people are actually using our services for each of the companies. And right here will be the final product for our video. And I want to make sure you go down to the description because right there will be the directions for this. Because I go through this, you might have some questions on why am I doing this? Why is this happening? In the description down below will be all the directions needed. Okay, let's get right into the video. Okay, so right here's our data for this project. And just giving a quick heads up, none of this will be edited. So you'll see me working through all the choices I make, all the mistakes that happen, just so you can see my thought process and to make sure this is basically as realistic as possible. Just to give a quick little heads up too about what we're working with. We have right here our revenue tab, which has each of the accounts, the month that it was in, the amount, quarter, booking type. This is going to be very important because we have to see, okay, was it a new booking, which was a brand new business, or renewal? It means we already had them as a business and they're just re-upping for another year. And then to cover lives that are associated with the account. And we have the revenue targets. So it is looking at, okay, like how much did they target for each month overall, and then by new bookings and renewals. And then same thing over here for covered lives. So we have a bit to do here, and just to make sure we're going in the right order here, is we need to figure out what was the revenue and cover lives by each month, and we have to slice it up by overall, and then by each of the booking types. One for a new booking, one for renewal. So what I'm going to do is make a new tab here, move it all the way to the end. I'm going to call this one revenue analysis. And what I'm going to do right here is let's start off with like C3 right here. I'm just write like totals, meaning because I'm gonna be basically making two tables. I want to make one table that shows off what actually happened in each month, and I want to make a table for the targets. So what I'm gonna do right here in D4 is I'm gonna think of my column headers, and I'm gonna do month, and then I want ones for overall, new bookings, and renewals. Cool, we're good there. I'm just gonna bold these, Control B. Just make sure there are column headers. And then for a month, I'm just going to pull in January, February, March. What's good is that Excel picks up as a pattern. So I can scroll this all the way down. Cool, good. Okay, so I have that all set. Now I have to figure out three things, right? First one, I have to figure out what was the overall revenue for the month of, for example, January. And if I had to really think here, the best way to do this is, like I said, I could do a couple things. I could have done a pivot table, but in this situation, I want to have full control over what I'm doing. I want to put it in the right kind of formatting that I want to do. So I'm going to do a sum ifs because there's going to be a criteria involved, right? Because we have something we're looking at, which is the month. And what is the sum range? I'm looking at revenue, so column C. And criteria range 1, that is coming from column B. And basically saying is like, okay, I'm looking at column B, what I want to pull in. If I go back to the analysis, I want to be January. So D5 right there. Close it up. Perfect. Bring it all the way down. Make that into a currency. And good, cool. So, like I said, everything right here is good to go. So we look at each month, right? So we have January had 3.4, February also 3.4, and so on. So that's all good there. Let me go to now new bookings. And I could type this all out again, but I'm going to do something a little different. I'm just going to go here and copy this exactly. I'm not going to drag across because if I do that, all these columns will move. I don't want that. Go right here into the column right there. So now there's one more criteria to put in there, right? If you remember some ifs, we could put as many criteria as we want. Because right now we only put in one because we only looked at the month. But now we also have another one. We only want to look at new bookings. So put in a comma. The second criteria range is coming in from column E, and it's going to be called new booking. Close it up. And we're good. Drag that down. Perfect. Good. To currency. Cool. And same thing, right? So now I got to just do the same for renewals, but I could just take this, copy it. And actually, I'm going to show you something really quick because you might be wondering why am I taking it from the bar? Let me do this. I'm just going to copy it straight from the cell. Okay, so it should say all of this when I put it into G5. And we take a look and, oh, what happened? And like I said, everything shifts because we're moving to the right one column, so will the formula. We don't want that. Okay, so we just take this, copy it from the bar, and we put it right back into the bar. All we got to do here now is change it to renewal, and we're good. Cool. Okay, so that's all good. So we got our new bookings, renewals all split up, and overall. And let me just double check. These two combined should say 3359. And yep, we're good. Cool. Now, there's something a little different here. Okay, so we have it for each month, but if you remember what the chart looked like, it's going to be a rolling total, right? So it should be basically going up each month. So in the directions, I gave a little bit of instruction of what that means. But for example, in February, this shouldn't say 3.4. This should also include what January says. So it keeps rolling into the next month. So you might be thinking, okay, how can we do that without maybe doing anything else, right? I only want to stay in this set of data. I don't want to do anything else outside of it. Well, it's pretty simple, actually. So we go right here into February. We're going to do this plus what was the previous month. We got that. Let's bring that down. And now they've rolled all into each other, right? Because all it's doing now is saying, okay, bring in the sum of that month that happened and also take what happened the previous month. And because it's rolling into each other, that's all we need. And that's actually, that's it. We're all good there. So let's do the same for new bookings and renewals as well. And we'll have to do this also with the targets too. We can also double click too. Cool. And we're good. Cool. Awesome. That was great. So now I just got to do targets now. So let me just go over here. Let's do targets. And I'm going to take the same exact column headers I got. This one's going to be much, much easier because if we look at the targets, it's already like set up. So all we got to do is just pull in right from there. We don't do anything crazy. There's many ways we do it. We could do lookups, but in this situation, I don't think it's really necessary. We just have to basically do an equals and point to the cell, drag down, and we'll be all good. So for overall, it is coming right from here. So we're good. New bookings is coming from right there. And renewals is coming from right there. Let's apply it. Make sure we're all good to go. Currency, perfect, done. Awesome. So yeah, we're all good right there with the totals and targets. We're going to leave it right there. So in order to make the charts, we're going to have to make another table, and I'm going to explain that a little bit more. But right now we have our revenue down. Now I want to do the covered lives. Now I could do two things. I could try to replicate this as covered lives, or I could just make a quick copy and make a couple changes here and there and be all good to go. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I like to always try to take the simplest way out of things. And I think that when it comes to Excel, if you really set your reports up the right way, you can save a ton of time and effort. And I think eventually you kind of get down the way you like to do things. So right here, all I'm going to do is take revenue analysis. And I'm going to move or copy. Revenue analysis, make a copy. Cool. Bring it over here. I'm just going to call this now cover lives. analysis. And actually, what I'm gonna do here, just so I don't get things confused, I'm just gonna call that covered lives. Call this revenue. And also, we could do too is I could also make this a color. Like I'll make this red, and then I'll make this like a blue, so I don't get anything confused. Okay, so I got to think here. There's a couple things that have to happen, right? So one, cover lives, it's not currency, so that's gonna become just a regular number, and I have to change what I'm trying to sum. So right here, it's coming from revenue column C, but everything's gonna stay the same, right? Same kind of criteria, looking for new bookings in a month. Only thing that has to change is what are we summing? And if we look at revenue, we were looking at column C. I just want column F. So let me go here, go back to cover lives, and let me go to here, the F. So that's good. And just one more, change this to an F because it's being affected from there. Drag that down. Good. So like I said, we're just changing these to column F. Just the first two, so we can start the rolling total action. Very good. And one last one. Cool. And all I got to do here now is change it instead of currency. I'm just put a little comma here, make it into a number. And good. Cool. Perfect. So that's all done. And looks pretty good to me. And now for targets, now let's just really quickly look, see how the targets set up. Because if they are in the same columns and in the same cells, we could literally just change the word that comes up in there. So let's see right here. So revenue is in B and C, F, G, J, K, and it started at row 4. B, C, F, G, J, K, row 4. Okay, so it's the same setup. The same exact setup. It's in the same location. So basically, all I'll do is just change the wording within the formula from revenue targets to cover lives targets. So go into here, and let me just change this to cover lives. We can make this a little bit easier on ourselves too. We could just take this, copy that, because we got to do the same thing. Or actually, let's see here. Oh, that's right. I have to do the rolling one for this. That's why. Okay. I was wondering what was going on here. So yeah, as I did over here with revenue, I have to do the rolling one here. So I got to add in the previous one. Bring that down. Bring in January. All good. And then now bring in January for renewals. Good. And that's also another very important thing too is like right away I saw that and I was like, okay, something's not right. Like why does December say 5 million when that should be something, around 40 or 50? And that's because if you know your data, even though if you're doing like a random project or whatnot, you should be able to still understand like, okay, we're trying to get rolling totals. If December says 5 million, when clearly that just doesn't make any sense, like we could know right away that something's wrong. So, okay, we're good there with revenue targets. Now, actually, this won't be as bad of a deal because all I could do is just change that plus up here. This is actually going to be pretty good, actually. This is actually a lot easier. Cool. So I'm just going to take this out, make that into cover lives. Change that to cover lives. Add in what we have for January. Double click that. And we're almost done here. Take this one out. And let's add in January for renewals. Start that up. And let's cover this all up here. Turn it into a number. And we're good. Cool. Okay. Much better. And like I said, I'm not editing this whatsoever. Mistakes will happen, but as long as you understand what happened and how to readjust, we're all good to go. So, okay, I got my targets and cover lives all set up. Now what I want to do is I want to start setting up my dashboard because the tables I make here are going to be reliant based off a drop down we make, and we're using data validation to do that. So before I make any kind of table, I want to start off with my dashboard. So I'm gonna go here and call this dashboard. What color do I want to do? Let's go with this like orange. Is this orange? I don't know. Yeah, we'll go with orange. Yeah. Okay. So let's set this up here. And this is where definitely dashboard can get a little bit difficult, but I will say my main advice is the more and more you make dashboards in Excel, you'll have a way of doing it, right? You'll know how you set things up. You'll know what kind of shapes you use, the font you use. So in the beginning, it might feel a little like, okay, I have this huge sheet. Like, what do I do? Where do I start? But that's why I'm here. I'm here to kind of start stuff for you. But I do encourage you to kind of switch things up as things go along. So what's important here is I'm going to set up my drop down filter. I'm going to go over here to, let's go S2. I'm going to go 4 rows down, 4 rows across, make a nice little box. I'm going to merge it because I want the drop down filter to kind of stand out a little bit, and also I want the arrow to kind of be on the side here, so it's not like in the middle. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use data validation to create a drop down. So I'm going to go to data, go to data validation, and right here I'm going to do allow. I'm going to make a list because what a list is, you could basically decide exactly what you want to be in there. And I'm going to put in total new bookings renewals because those are 3 things we're looking at. And if you see right here, if we do a drop down, we get it right there, right? So basically, just kind of give you an idea of what it's gonna look like is the tables that we make, we're gonna be basically doing a bunch of like if statements. So like, for example, if S2 says total, then pull in this number. If S2 says new bookings, then pull in this number. So that's why we're doing this drop down right here. And let me go back. Let's bold that, put in the middle. Let's get it nice and large. Go. Let's say actually it might be a little too large. Yep, 20 looks good. Okay, and then let's also go 4 across, 4 down. Oh, sorry about that. And let's just call this filter by, so people understand that this visual we have right here is being filtered by what we choose. Let's put this in the middle. Let's indent this a little bit. So it's not complete in the middle, so a little bit right there, good. A little larger. Yeah, let's leave it right there. Cool. Okay, so that's good right there. That's everything we need. I say we just go ahead and start making the dashboard at least. Like I said, we're not gonna put anything really into it, but let's at least get the format down so we're all good. Let's set the title here. So let's just go for here to keep it consistent, and let's just go right there, merge and center, and let's call this one healthcare sales ops. Since we're sales operations, we're trying to understand our sales of the company. And let's call this targets versus actuals. We're basically just comparing how we actually did versus what we projected to do in the year. And let's make this in the middle, and let's actually bump this all the way to the right. Let's indent it a little bit, a little larger. Let's see how we look here. We don't want to take away too much from it. Let's make it like 30. Yeah, looks good. Bold that. Yeah. Actually a little less. That's 28. Let's make that 30. Okay, cool. So we're good there. And actually, let's go into here. I want this to be a certain color. Let's make this like like I said, I'm using the latest Excel, so it might look a little different with the coloring and whatnot. You can kind of choose whatever you want, but you want to be careful not to choose something that's be a little too harsh on the eyes. So really good colors is using something like a gray, a lighter colors. So if you want to kind of avoid these like darker ones, like this dark green, orange, the bright yellow, you kind of want to keep it. Let's go with this like light blue. Yeah, let's go light blue. So we're good there. So now let's set up a couple more things. So I want one part of the KPIs will be revenue here, and over here will be cover lives, and then the chart here for revenue, chart here for cover lives. I'm going to insert a shape. Let's go to shapes, and I'm using the rounded corners. I just I absolutely love using it. I just feel like it's just very easy on the eyes and easy to consume. So we're good there, and I'm going to put this one. Start at like 7. I'm trying to think of how far across I'm gonna go. Let's go right here. Let's go down to like 15, 16 area, kind of. Let's try that. And we can always adjust as we go, but I like to always have a column space within it. Like I don't want anything going within like so basically we want stuff ending around right here. I really don't want to go in too close to the edge. It's gonna look way too packed. And we have 3 KPIs. So let me just think how many columns we have here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. Right on dot. Cool. So each one will have 3 columns. 3, 6, 9. 1, 2, 11. Awesome. Okay. Right on the dot. Perfect. So I'm going to keep that same design. Let me paste it over here. Make like a 1 column gap. Let's go right there. Cool. So that's good. Copy that. Now let's make the one for the charts. Give a little bit of a gap there. Pull it down. We could adjust as we go. Copy that so we keep the same design for the other charts so we're not off. And yeah, that looks good for now. Like I said, I'm sure at the very end I'll be making some little adjustments here and there, but for now this is just fine. And the most important part with this is since we added a shape, we could put text in here. Like for example, if I say like hi, right? Like I could put text in there. But if I try to do like equal sum and this, it doesn't work. So it's just text. It's basically think of like a text box in a way. The thing is, I want to put information in there. I want to put formulas in there. So I have to make it no fill for each of these. So I click in, right click and go to fill, do no fill. Because look now. See, I click in, I can do all my formulas and everything. So I'm all good. So that's everything I need. Let's go to here, fill again, no fill, right click, fill, no fill, right click, fill, no fill. Cool. And I'm thinking this, so we have this already set up. I know I want to do the charts. Let me move this in a little bit. Cool. That's better. Move this a little bit. You can kind of see where it gets aligned. Okay, that's good. I kind of want to set the KPIs a little bit. I want to set the KPI boxes. Yeah, let's do the boxes first. So I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna buff this up a little bit. Buff this one up a little bit so it matches. And I have one good spot there. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Merge the center there. I'm gonna call this one total revenue. Copy this and apply and apply. This one will be called variance, and I'll explain how we do variance in a little bit, along with variance percent. Okay, I'm gonna copy this. Got one gap there. Go right here. Cool. And just turn this into total covered lives. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Actually, let's make this into we get a little more room in here because numbers are pretty important. Let's make this like 4 rows. Merge center there. Cool. Just keep copying and pasting it. Copy, paste, copy, paste. And let's see what size we get here. 16. I'm not sure if total cover lives will make it. Let's see, because I want to keep it consistent. I don't want one of them having a larger font size than the other. It'll look a little silly. Let's take a look here. 16. Okay, cool. Yep, 16 is what we're gonna do. Make each one 16. And okay, cool. So we're good there. I think what we do at this point is we could definitely move on. We can now go start making our charts because that's obviously going to be a little bit of work. So let's just get right into that. So let's go over back to revenue analysis and let's just call this one chart since this table is being used for the charts that we have. So right here, I'm going to take these same column headers right here. Take that. And actually, they're going to change it a little bit here. So this one's just going to be called revenue. This one will be called target. This one will be called variance. And variance percent. So what we have to do here is the following. Is we have to basically say that everything in here needs to be based off what the filter is on the dashboard, which is in S2, as we see right here. Even though it's merged into a bunch of different cells, it is pulled up as S2. So what we have to say here is basically, if S2 on the dashboard says total, what do we bring in? We want to bring in overall. If it says new bookings, what do we want to pull in? New bookings. And for renewals, we pull in renewals right here. And then same thing for target. If it's total, then there, and then so on. So let's start this off. I'll type it up here so you can see everything goes on. And this says if. So first test will be based off dashboard S2. If that equals, I'll move my cursor here so you can see. If it equals total, what do we want to pull in? We want to pull in the total right there, comma, another if, let's go back to the dashboard, and we could type it out too, but I'm doing this for visual purposes. If that says new bookings, what do we want to pull in? I'll pull in with new bookings right there. One last if statement, if, back to dashboard, if that says S2, and that is equal to renewals, we want that to pull in renewals. And we got to close off with a few different parentheses here. So we got 1, 2, 3, because we had 3 different clauses in there. Click enter. And okay, so let's think really quickly. Let me make this to a currency really quick. So we get 1.3 million. So I want you to look at this really quickly and think, okay, where's that coming from? That's the number coming in from new bookings. And let's confirm that on the dashboard tab, it should say new bookings, because if it does say new bookings, then this is all correct and we are good to go. And okay, cool. So yeah, actually this is good. So I'm going to switch that now to total. And this number should then say 3.3 million. Let me do total. And yeah, awesome. This is perfect, actually. So I can just take this and before I actually do anything, I'm going to do something really quickly. I'm going to show you like, okay, like I'm good to go. And then you might wonder, okay, what happened, right? I had a number, but it says all false. And if we look really quickly at the next one, it now says dashboard S3. Because we did not make that an absolute value, it's going to keep going down with each of the formulas. So let me go into here. Let me clear that out. And I'm going to make each of these into an absolute reference. So let me do F4. Okay, I guess didn't want to do it. There we go. Cool. There we go. My computer's a little slow. There we go. And last one. Cool. Now that should be good. So now whenever I move this down, that value should not change. Perfect. Yep, we're all good. See each one. If I go down, you see it stays S2. Cool. We're good. Now for target. Like I said, I could type out another if statement, but I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. So I could just take this and just make some adjustments to the formula because it's the same kind of concept, but just should be pulling in different cells. What's great about Excel is we can see right away where is it being pulled in from. We can see the blue matching right here, red and purple. We just now have to make it L, M, and N within the formula. So E5 should become L. Perfect. It's looking really good. Then M. And then N. Enter. Perfect. To enter a currency. And we're good. Cool. All done there. And now for the variance. So all the variance is, it's taking the revenue and the difference from the target. So with this is we're taking revenue minus target equals the variance. So all we gotta do here is do equals revenue minus target, enter, and pull down. So if we look at this, basically with the variance, it says right here, because it's now in a different kind of setting. So let me actually put all this into currency to keep it consistent here. It's basically saying that we missed target by 2.7 million. So that's what the variance is telling us. So, okay, we have the number down, but give it to me as a percentage. All we got to do for variance percentage is take the variance and divide it by the target. Pull that down. Let's make it a percent. Let's add in one more decimal spot. Okay, cool. So, like I said, we missed it by 2.7. We actually missed it by 5.9% because that's very important because numbers might seem okay. Maybe it's not that much, or maybe it's a lot. When we look at it from a percentage standpoint, that really makes a significant deal. So we're all good with that. But now we're gonna do the same thing for cover lives. Now, here's the thing. I want to make this a little bit smoother, right? I don't want to really go through the whole process again. I could do it. It'll take 5-10 minutes, but maybe I don't want to take that long. Maybe I want to go a little bit quicker. So let me do this. Let me take all this. Let me copy it. And let's see what happens. So this is in C19. C19. Control V. And let's see here what's being pulled in, right? So think, looking at all of these formulas here, right? Why didn't it change, right? It's because it's pulling in from revenue analysis. All we gotta do is just make it instead of revenue, make it cover lives, right? It's everything's in the same location. Everything's located in the same way. We just have to change the reference. So let me go here, make this into cover lives analysis. Just go to Control C, just so I could let me get the whole word in there. We want the whole one. And just apply it to wherever I see revenue. Control V. And Control V. Good. Bring that down and see the variance will update. We'll have to change this into a regular number, but we'll do that soon. Control V. Control V. And one last one. There we go. Cool. Let's bring this down. And let's turn this all into just a number. So let's turn it to a comma. Awesome. Cool. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I could have just went ahead and did it again and done the formulas and whatnot, but that's why formatting things and doing things your way can really make a huge difference. And I, kept the same mentality with revenue and covered lives analysis. And doing that update took, 30 seconds at most. And now we are all good to go, right? We have our charts and we can now do our KPIs, and we're really not that far off from being done here. So let's go to let's make up our chart. Let's do our charts first. So let's have some fun here. So for charts, all we got to do is pull in these three. We don't need variance or variance percentage. We'll use that for the KPIs. So let's just go here, cover up this information. Let's go to insert, and let's go to recommended charts. I always like to see what they recommend. And yes, I recommend the line chart. So let's click OK. Cool. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to bring it over to the dashboard right here. And I like to mess with things around in here instead of doing it on the other tab. And I should do one more quick thing. So you can see right now that, with the grid lines in back, it looks a little funky, right? So let's just get rid of them. Let's go to view and let's get out of this grid lines. Much better, right? Much better. So what we're gonna do here is do a couple things. Let's go to outline. No outline. Cool. Yep, no outline because we don't want a border there. And now let's do a couple things. Let's make this a little larger. So we take up the whole spot. But you'll see right here, even though there's no outline, right? If I keep going, we can see it covers up the outline we have of the original one. So we want to be very, very careful not to get it outside of it. And we can always double check how it looks. So right now it's fine. So we're good. Let's keep going a little bit that way. Let's make sure. And yeah, we're good. Cool. Okay. So I got that one down. Let me pull in the cover lives, make sure we're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's do insert, recommended charts, line chart. Cool. Copy. You could cut it too, but it doesn't really matter. I always like to leave a copy in case something happens. Okay. Pull that there. Oh, so let's not get ahead of ourselves again. Let's go no outline. Should be good. Let's make sure it doesn't get cut off in corners. Yeah, just a little bit, little bit. Oh man, I'm off by a tiny bit. A little bit more. Perfect, good, cool. So we are all good. One thing that can happen too is so we have to do a few things, right? There's actually a few things that have to change, right? So we have to kind of change the headers here because I want to show this off as millions. So let me go here. I double clicked on that. I want to display that as millions. Display that as well as millions. And I want the let's go marker. Let's just do automatic. Automatic. Same thing over here. Marker. Automatic. Let's get the other one, blue one too. Let's make the automatic as well. Cool. So now we got that much, much better. And let's see. We could also definitely extend this a bit too. Stretch it out a little bit, and not that much. Let's do that here too. We could extend that out a little bit. Okay, that's looking much better. Okay, so now show off in millions. It's just way more straightforward, right? We don't need all the bunch of zeros behind that. We kind of get the idea of what we're working with, especially when you send off to stakeholders. They know what they're looking at. Okay, so a few more changes. You'll see right away, actually, there's one thing we have to do. Because I copied over revenue to cover lives for that chart data, you'll see this as revenue. That says revenue. However, we know that this is actually the revenue. So we have to go back over here and let's just call this covered lives. So that updated. Okay, cool. We're good. So let's think of the chart name here. Let's keep it very simple. Get that out of the way. Covered lives target versus actuals. And let's not get this. Let's not make it gray. Let's get this to just regular black. Bold that a little bit larger. And let's move this to the left a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's fine for now. And we'll do the same thing over here. Instead of calling it cover lives targets actuals, we'll just call this revenue targets versus actuals. Cool. And let's make this also black. Bold it. What was the size on this one? 16. Okay. 16. Let's move this a little bit to the left. Like right here. Cool. Moves up. How much can I move it up? Yes, moves up a tiny bit. It's a little too close. Okay, cool. Okay, that looks actually that looks good to go. Like so, we'll test this out at the very end. I mean, we can actually test it out right now. So this shows the total, right? Let me now do new bookings. We can see now it's changed, right? We can see how it's changed now. All the axes have changed because we're looking at now new bookings only. Let's do renewals as well. Perfect. This is awesome. I'm actually very pleased with this. So we're good there. Let's put it back to total so we're all good. Okay, so now we got to add in our KPIs here. So total revenue, right? So let's remember, we're doing rolling totals. So we could do a couple things. We could pull in the information from the original data and revenue, or we could pull it in from the month of December because December should have all of the year totaled into it. So all we do for total revenue is do equals, pull in from December, and then what was the variance of that? Variance is right here. And what was the percentage? It was right here. Cool. Let's just format this really quickly. Middle, bold, currency. Let's make it not accounting. Let's do currency. A little bit larger. 22. Let's see. 24 might be good to go. Let's do 24. Let's make that to a currency. Let's go 24 also. And this will become a percent. Let's show one decimal place. Yeah, 1. Cool. Okay, so that's good right there. And then for total cover lives, same thing. Pulling in straight from December. On cover lives. Got December right there. And let's do variance. Oh, no, not there. It's right there. And then percent is right there. Good. Same thing. So what we had is at 24. Okay. Let's do 24 as well. Make that into just a number. Let's see. Is this going to be too large? Is that one? Okay, yeah, I see. Let me go back. Actually, let me go back because I don't want to make the cells any different. Yeah, there we go. Much better. So this is all centered. That's fine. Cool. So that's good. Let's do the same thing for variance. Let's put this in the middle. Let's buff that up too. Bold. There we go. Okay. So we are good there. And then percent. Let's put that in the middle. Bold that. Let's make that also 24, but we make that percent. So that's good. Buff one spot. Okay, cool. Okay, so we're all good with this. So we got everything we need, the variance and everything like that. That's all set. Now there's just one more step. Actually, if you just want to see how this looks with the KPIs, right? Because it's all set for total. Let me just do this for now. New bookings. Yep, everything goes pretty well there. Let's actually just make this into just a number. I guess we could leave it like that. We'll just leave it like that. So that's good there. So there's one more thing I want to do. Okay. The last thing I want to do is I want to make the variance and variance percent into either red or green. So if it's negative, I want it to be red. If it's positive, I want it to be green. So we'll have to do conditional formatting for that. So let me select into variance percent. I'm going to use control, hold these 4 down, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules. Let's do a new rule actually. Let's see. So we have the cell values, the ones we selected, and they want them to be if they are greater than 0. We want actually let's start with less than. Let's do less than 0. We want the text, only the text. Now, like I said, when you do this, you can do it however you want, but for this, I'm only doing the text. I want the text to be red. And we see the preview right there. Click OK. And let's click OK there. And we see it's applied, right? But let's go back again and to ensure that if it's greater, that it's green. So let's do manage rules. Let's do a new rule that if the value is greater than 0, the format then want to be green. Let's make this like that, dark green. Yep. Cool. Click OK. and we're good there. Let's apply that. Close. Now here's the thing. Let's just make sure, right? Because right now for new bookings, everything was negative. Go to total. Yep, everything's negative. That adds up right. And renewals. Okay, so yeah, not the best look. Not the best look at all. If you're sending this off to your manager and they're like, everything's in red. Everything's in red, not good, but it is what it is, right? You can't control what gets sold or what doesn't. But that right away just gives a little more of an indication of what actually happened, just so decision making could get done a little bit better. Um, but yeah, so like I said, this is a dashboard created basically driven by this conditional, no, sorry, not conditional, data validation dropdown. Everything we did, our KPIs, our charts are all driven by this dropdown. And like I said, there's so much that can be accomplished within Excel just by doing a couple, functions, conditional formatting, data validation. So much you do with this, and there's even so much more you do with it. But just want to give a little sneak preview on how this works. Definitely stay tuned for more Excel, SQL, and data visualization projects to come out. And I hope to see you over on my next video.